मत कर काया को घमंड कायागार से काची मत कर माया को rise and pray rise and pray गोवर्धन गिरधारी मुरारी नारायण गोपाल गोवर्धन गिरधारी मुरारी नारायण गोपाल मुकुंद माधव मुरलीधारी नारायण गोपाल मुकुंद माधव मुरलीधारी नारायण गोपाल
people together for tea with strangers. And I looked at him and I said, thank you for trying to help me, I appreciate it. I'll go on. And then he said, no, let me explain. You have tea, an accessible drink that everyone can get, something that during a conversation you can sip on just to fill an awkward pause, but it's not so disruptive that the conversation gets distracted from. With, you're implying a sense of inclusion, that you have to do this with other people and that you can't do it alone. Strangers, people that you don't know yet, so you're in no place to actually make any sort of judgment about them. You have no preconceived notions of who they are, so to actually understand them, you need to approach them with a sense of curiosity and openness. And it's plural, meaning that you have to do it in groups. It's not a one-on-one activity. And I looked at him, just my eyes wide, because I'm the one that made up the name Tea with Strangers, and he's the one explaining it to me in a sense that I've never even thought about it before.
What is a picture which comes to our mind? Family, it's a grandfather, grandmother, mom, dad, children, and sometimes even a doggy thrown in. So what kind of a picture is it? You know, it's a happy picture, it's full of love, and it shows contentment. And you know, whenever we see a picture like this, we all break into a smile. But what if I was to take something away, a part of the snapshot away? So what if I was to take the grandparents away? What if I was to take the father away? Does this still show the same feeling? The culture we have, basically, you know, a lot of times it's assumptions that are taken that, you know, he or she hasn't married. Maybe there's something wrong with them. You know, pitiful glances, sniggers, then God comes into the picture, because God never intended us to live this way. Then whose children are these? Where did they come from? Whose blood runs in their veins? Then the caste, then the creed, then the class. All these factors are very much part of the hurdles which one would cross again and again from different people. Then we have what is the system.
Under her eyes deepens with the sound of boots. With tiny fingers she clings on to her twisted roots. He, on the other hand, has learned words too strong for his age. His eyes have lost innocence, are bloodshot red, oozing rage. Her cries, his sighs have rhythmic patterns too hard to ignore. His dreams have fallen shoulders, her wings of freedom soar. Now, if you pay close attention or take a quick glance, you will see their face do the scary demon dance, scanning people always like airport metallic doors, pushing away rescue ships from the ports of their shores. Their conversations are brief, lips stabbed with airplane glue, voice coated with grief, as if oil tanks have drenched their feet and their backs have caught fire with just the day's heat. Now, I should say they have turned unexpectedly wise, for which of course they have paid a heavy price. I mean, you can't no more fool them with sweet talk, la-la land candies and chocolates. Their sharpness can challenge the likes of PhDs and leather-bound doctorates. What a shame it is for you and me that they have learnt it all without you and me. As we glimpse through the headlines in the morning newspaper on HD channels, their tragedies we flip. It amuses me to no end how lethal our responses, our logic how sick. For we are yet to devise a way to crawl into the skin of a child, nourish his daffodil dreams, and shush the deafening sound of suicide. From the dust of case studies, from the clutches of guilt, anger, and confusion, a day is yet to come when we have freed the hearts of our little ones from abuse and all its versions. He now plays in the field, has around him an impassable shield, while she strolls in the park covered in a thick-skinned bark, and this is fine, as they have learned to live with caution, and also something which is of prime importance, that every era, every continent, every race carries one such story. From these breaths of brutality have risen persistently humans of glory. When a Maya goes mute in Winston-Salem, Carolina, Maya Angelou's poetry escapes. From the claws of cousins and uncles, a majestic Oprah Winfrey shapes. And cause they lapped it all in with courage and power, bowed head stands their shame and artistic looks their scar. Well, now if you give them a chance to see that despite the tortured past, the hatefulness that left them aghast, they both understand that he has to be proving another theory of time, and she has to be for someone a beacon of light. Let's hope they don't play the blame game when they grow up, and their arms open to melodies when great dances show up. He now sits with his group of friends, builds a castle with sea sand. She leaps over the kitchen counter, gives her mother a hand. Thank your stars that he lives and she lives, and because of them you live and I live. Now pray with all your might that his and her hope thrives. Because when a child decides to live in this world full of pain, the world survives. The world survives.
We have the passion. We can be more, we can be much more. Let's turn the world inside out.
Take this further. How can you innovate? How can you be a part of the movement? And innovation. Innovators have a fantastic way of seeing past, creativity, challenge, and possibilities.
And he performed live. A round of applause begins when the orchestra players enter onto the stage. Suddenly, rising out of the center of the stage appears a humanoid robot with a conductor stick in his hand. That's when you notice that all the music stands are missing, and all of the orchestra players are wearing the same pair of special glasses. The robot conductor signals to begin the symphony. His hand actions are perfectly emotive, expressing the fortissimo with great strength. Surely enough, you hear no page-turning noise in the midst of the beautiful piece. The players are able to read the music straight off of the screens of their glasses. As the piece gets closer and closer to its climax, you notice that all the percussion instruments are missing, but the percussionist is still standing on stage. Just when you fear that the massive climax is going to be missing, the percussionist goes... of massive, rapid, and even disruptive technological change. Consider today something as simple as a mobile phone has so many applications. Halfway through the piece, wish to add a new instrument, wish to print out 100 copies of the piece, click, and it's done. But what is the future of music? I opened up with an anecdote of a dream that I once had. A dream about robots facilitating the live performance of music by real musicians. When there was a robot conductor leading the orchestra and a percussionist playing percussion when no instruments were physically present. Let me just give you a better idea of how that happened.